ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Verse number 7 in section 16. Okay, and what is that? That is where we are at right now. Utthānena jayen nidrām kāmam sankalpavarjanāt santoshena jayel lobham moham bodhadrisha jayet. So first line we have completed last week. So the conquering tamas, which is the the upalakshana is sleep. Sleep is the upalakshana for tamas, and so all kinds of lassitude, all kinds of feelings of wanting to procrastinate, etc., even though it might feel like this has nothing to do with Vedanta. Well, the thing is, Vedanta is you. So it has everything to do with you. And this has to be understood, because we make all these compartments, and so it has everything to do with you. And so we saw in detail how to overcome all these things. And then Kamam is desire, sankalpa varjanat. We take away the pressure from this kama, removing the pressure from this kama. How? By letting the fancies as they arise in the mind, let them drift away. Just watch. And if it is too much, change the channel, go do something and busy yourself. Yeah. So that is how to overcome that. We have seen in full detail. And then the very packed verse, as all of these have been. And then lobha. Lobha is avarice, greed. And it is some kind of a seems like an archaic emotion, because if you ask any person, any given person, random person on the street, are you greedy? They will say no, of course I'm not greedy. And even if one were to ask oneself, am I greedy? The answer will come, no, of course I'm not greedy. So we think of greed as some kind of a directly objectifiable emotion, which is, always wanting more than what one has. That is, of course, a blatant manifestation of greed, no doubt. But here we are talking of things much, much more subtler than that. So greed, it's almost like it's a bad word. Nobody wants to be called greedy. It's insulting to be called greedy. It's insulting to think of oneself. It's very hurtful to think of oneself as greedy. And so what is this greed, lobha? Very interesting. What is this? What is this thing? It is an unrequited longing. A longing that is always there in the background, like in an Indian music concert. There is a tanpura. There is a stringed instrument which is tuned to the main notes of the melody, the raga as such. So it kind of does a kind of what in Sanskrit is called digbandhanam, meaning it kind of binds in a nice way, for as far as the raga goes. It binds the atmosphere to to these notes, to the main notes of that particular raga being sung. And then there is one person who is trained to just keep on strumming the 3 4 strings of the tanpura in a nice rhythm, and then that forms the backdrop from which the musician, whether it's a vocalist or an instrumentalist, can take off, and then be very creative, and can go anywhere, because this the tanpura is giving the is holding this melody in place. And similarly, the lobha, the greed, is like the tanpura, strumming notes of insecurity, discontentment, and dissatisfaction. I want, I want, I want, I want, I lack, I lack, I lack, I lack, I want, I want, I want. That is one string. Ding, 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 I want, I want, I want. And then I lack, I lack, I lack, I lack, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. Give me some more. Maybe I need some validation. I need to make this better. I need to have this. Without this, I'm incomplete, 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 insufficient, insufficient, insufficient. You see. So greed is not like, oh, I want a BMW. That is just a blatant manifestation. I want this kind of a thing. That is not, that is just what is that, a storybook stereotypical greed. But that greed, we have to see the the reed of the tanpura that is manifesting as this greed. And that is just a basic insecurity centered on the self, which morphs into unrequited and unrequitable, may I add, longings. All kinds of longings. And then people say, oh, I have a lot of hobbies. What is your hobby? I like to go and look at houses. Some people have this hobby. They just go whenever there is a house for sale. So are you going to buy it? No, I don't have money to buy it. Whenever there is open house, they will be the first one there. I just like to check it out. How many rooms? What is the architecture? How many bathrooms? Where are they? But why are you interested in where these, where the family that's going to buy this house, where they are going to eat and where they are going to sleep? Why are you bothered? No, it's just a hobby. And then when you look deeply within the hobby, lurks a longing. Lurks a longing. That is what it is. And that longing is not feeling at home with oneself. So the behind the so-called greed is discontent, longing, and if you look deeply at the longing, it is an insecurity centered on the self, not feeling at home with oneself. That's why one looks for the vicarious enjoyment of looking at other people's houses. Always wanting to look at houses. Oh, look how nice this is. Oh, how many rooms. Oh, I didn't think from the outside it would have this many rooms. Very nice. And this is the kind of this is a kind. See, the greed need not always be manifest as action of wanting to grab something somebody else has. That is, as I said, an overt manifestation. Greed is, at this level of Vedanta study, we look at greed more as an internal dialogue of a series of lacks, a series of the things that I don't have that define me, that threaten to define who I am. Likewise, so many things. Wanderlust. Wanderlust means what? I want to go here, I want to go there. Okay, so can you go? No money. And what are you talking about? COVID. It's still, most of the places are still just about to open. They're not yet open fully. And who knows when they will shut down. Are you crazy? I can't go. So what are you doing? I'm just browsing other people's travel blogs from 2-3 years ago. Where they went, what did they do? And if I go to, if I go to Lima, what can I do in Lima? have a dish of lima beans. Okay, that's all you can do. And then, what should I do here when I go here? And they will say all these things. Barcelona in 3 days. Somebody else's travel blog. And then, then you can just go read it and then vicariously live that. All this is being talked about as lobha. No, you are just going deep within my psyche, and that is not what is greed. I am a very functional, non-greedy person. I don't take things belonging to other people, and I'm fine. If you say that, if you were to say that, then what I will say is that, what is talked about as lobha is described, the antidote to that is described in the Bhagavad Gita as yadrichha labha santushtah. Yadrichha labha santushtah. And that same antidote is given here. Narahari is very aware of the Bhagavad Gita. Santoshena jayet lobham. Santushtah, santosha, same word. Just a different suffix, that's all. Different pratyaya, different suffix. It's santosha all the way. Tush, to be contented. Samyak means very nicely contented. Nicely contented, and that means that contentment is the antidote to greed. And what is yadrichha? Yadrichha means whatever is gained. Whatever is gained. How is it gained? Partly by karma, because if you are supposed to be a millionaire, unless there is some karma hiding somewhere as a surprise, you would have become one by now. Okay, that is the general rule. Of course, we are open to surprises, like that fellow who bought one lottery ticket and forgot all about it, and then thankfully he made it one day before the last day to collect it, and went and collected his winnings. So the rule of the thumb is this: if I was supposed to be a millionaire, multi-billionaire, trillionaire, I would have already become one. So that means what? So the karma is this much only. Whatever I get, every month, whatever I get in my paycheck, whatever I get in terms of whatever people are giving to me, whatever it is. This much is whatever it is. And then, of course, that doesn't mean that I don't look for a promotion, I don't look for a merit raise, I don't look for some kind of a thing, I don't strive for it. That doesn't mean that. That is so. So karma is, within the range of this much. And then my swadharma and my desire is, my swadharma is to keep working and keep doing whatever I'm doing. And then my desire is to get a little more. Go ahead, no problem. And then you can tell me, yay, I got a raise, I got a promotion, and I will also celebrate with you. Wonderful. So this is the combination of one's previous actions in the previous births, blessed by Ishvara and recycled by Ishvara to be exhausted in this life, along with one's current karma. This is what is called yadrichha labha. Yadrichha labha. And this, between labha, gain, and lobha, wanting to gain, very little difference even in the Sanskrit word. Very easily, labha, what is gained, becomes lobha, what is yet to be gained, what is the longing. And so this is where the santosha helps. What is this santosha really? This santosha is in very much, vogue right now. Santosha is trending. And then if you were to look up Twitter and say, no, hashtag Santosha, it is not trending. If you were to tell me, then I will say, look for the English word by which Santosha is going these days. What is the Santosha going by these days? Attitude of gratitude. Gratitude is in the Western concept santosha. Very nice. Nowadays, you go to any therapist, they will say, practice gratitude. An attitude of gratitude will go a long way. Because many things can, in fact, I'm just saying many things to sound colloquial. But the truth is, nothing can be fixed. I was going to say many things cannot be fixed, but really nothing can be fixed. When you've been studying Vedanta for so long, nothing can be fixed. There is no, there may be some band-aids, some quick fixes, etc. But things are always as they are. The people who disturb you will continue to diss you. This is the new meaning of the word diss, short for disturb, okay, more Vedantic. Yeah, so people will continue to disturb you. People who disturb you now will continue to disturb you. Even if you pay them to change, they will take the money along with the change, and no change will be forthcoming. They will not change. Why won't they change? Because this is Ishvara's world in which you are living. This is how it is. No, I don't accept Ishvara's world. Okay, don't accept. Ishvara also has shoulders which he or she can shrug very nicely. Don't accept. So what are you going to do? I am going to live in my own world. Okay, go ahead. And what is your world? Full of longing travel blogs and home tours and wanting this, wanting that. A private world of projections. Yeah, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with my private world of projections? Well, the private world of projections soon turns into rejection and soon turns into dejection. This is what is the problem with your own private vikshepa, a projection. And that projection seems easy enough. I'm living in my own tent and in my own bubble. And then what? Next topic. Lonely, sad, dejection. Projection turns into dejection. Nobody loves me. Rejection. This is what it is. And so, therefore, if you refuse to live in Ishvara's world, one is the loser. Ishvara is not the loser. If you say, I'm going to take the ball and go home, I'm not going to play just because you put me here in this game. There are other players, there will be other balls, and nobody is going to miss you. So therefore, this is, so this santosha is not, thankfully, in the hands of the Jagat. This contentment is not in the hands of the Jagat. Your contentment is in your own hands. The Jagat is unable to make you contented. Why? Because that is not the job of the Jagat. What is the job of the Jagat? To just simply be. Be what? Be a continuous unfoldment of Ishvara in the form of so many things which have names, which have forms, which have all kinds of things. Its job is to simply be. So that Jagat is just simply, it just is. That which is Jagat. That Jagat is nothing but Ishvara. The first two letters of Ishvara in English is. Whatever is Ishvara. What about what is not? That is also Ishvara. Because there is no absolute is not. Only the relative is not, in which we are constrained to use the word is to express that. Is. This is how it is. That can be the morning mantra. You try to wake up, and then what? This is how it is. Then you say, okay, let me stretch. Ow! All kinds of aches and pains. This is how it is. Arthright is. Yeah, that's why it ends in is. Yeah. So this is how it is. It is. What can you do? as I said, nothing can be fixed. You can fix it up for a little while. You can put a band-aid and then you can say, yippee, I have stenched the, stopped the flow here. I have done this, I have done that. For how long? Until something else comes along. That's how it is. And so therefore, if you give the world the ability, the privilege to make you happy, to make you contented, which is the absence of greed, which is the opposite of greed, then that longing will always be there. And greed also, let us remind ourselves, doesn't have to do with objects alone. Greed also has to do with validation, needing validation. I want more, I want more, I want more. So it's not enough, for a significant other, as Pujya Swamiji would say this. It's not enough for a significant other to say. The significant other went away for a few days, went to the ashram to attend a retreat, came back, and the spouse asked, Did you miss me? Yes, I missed you. That's not enough for the significant other to say, I missed you. What is the next question? How much did you miss me? Can the missing be quantified? Well, let's say as far as the arms will go, I missed you this much. Only that much? Okay. I missed you, from this side of the Pacific to that side of the Atlantic. Still only that much? You see? So the greed doesn't always have a tangible form, which is why it is very difficult to even admit that one battles with this kind of a longing expressed as wanting more and more and more. One is filling up a hole, a black hole of wants, which is mithya. That black hole is, why is it born? This black hole is born because one doesn't know the truth of oneself, and one takes that emptiness to be the truth of oneself. And so therefore what? That the habit of trying to get the finite to become infinite and to milk its wonders in my life is a constant disease. This is what is called samsara. Milking the Jagat cow, in order to get all these riches, butter, milk, ghee from the Jagat cow. Why will the Jagat cow is not going to make me happy? Why is the Jagat cow not a milch cow? Because the kind of milk that you want, it doesn't have. So where is the kind of milk that I want? You are already filled up with it. You are the cow. You are the one that is, that is the non-longing, non-greedy, non-wanting, already contented, non-demanding, appreciative and contented being is already you. So why go to milk another cow when you are brimming with that contentment yourself? And besides, the Jagat is already milked dry. And it's all, think of how many people in it, and the people itself 7+ billion, and then all the animals with their wants and everything. One poor Jagat. How many people try to, get whatever they want out of it. And it is already spent. Why is it spent? Because that's not its job. The finite, it is spent because the finite can never become infinite. Infinitude is not something that can be purchased or bought or sold or found or dug up in some kind of an excavation site. Cannot do that. And then we hear about these excavation sites. They found out that For example, recently they found out through some excavations done somewhere in Israel that 3000 years ago they had a winery. Ah, wonderful. They were making some kind of, fermented foods they found 3000 years ago. That is, this is what it is. 3000 years ago. What does that have to do with now? Now also, that is, all these things are there. So many things are there. Wanting, wanting to get something out of the Jagat. Okay, then you made the wine, then what? Oh, now I want to try to make something different. Now I want to strive for something different. More discoveries, more this, more that. It is not going to lead you anywhere. The source of the contentment is I. That is what has to be, at least before this is discovered, the one has to be at least open to accepting this as a possibility. And in sleep, this is very nicely displayed. In sleep, one is the most contented person. One may cause discontent to others because one is having sound sleep. But oneself, speaking about oneself, one is the most happy, most contented. That means what? That means there is something to this, something to be looked into. And so how do I find this contentment? Arey, there is nothing to find, it is you. Yeah, but I don't know this me. Well, there's only one thing to do. Practice contentment. Practice that which is latent as a possibility. Practice that, meaning bring it out. And this is what is Pujya Swamiji's famous, fake it until you make it. You're not really faking it. It is you. But you feel fake because of the so many yuga koti sahasra, so many yugas, thousands and crores and billions and trillions of yugas. This lobha has been nurtured to become one's middle name. And lobha is what is familiar. And so that orientation has to be reversed. And that's not easy. And so therefore the sadhana is to show contentment even when you're not feeling it. Try that. That is homework until the next Bodhasara class. Try practicing contentment. Oh, it didn't go my way. I wish it had been like this. Oh, what a waste of time, energy, money. I didn't get what I want. But you always have to add a but here. So the but is the first clue to this new sadhana. Yes, things are not going my way. It is an uphill battle. This is not okay. That is not okay. But ... then quickly write down 5 things in your life that are going your way. If you can't find 5 things, please see me after class. Okay? I will help you find the 5 things and get you going. No problem. Okay? This is what it is. So because for everything that is not working, when the focus is put, the spotlight is put on that, and that is what is underscored, that becomes the habit. And one gets into a habit of dosha darshanam. Dosha darshanam means for fault finding, keeping on finding fault. Oh yeah, but I also find fault with myself. That's not, that's not a claim to fame. That is also the problem. No, so that is this dosha darshanam is the bane of samsara. It's the bane of one's very existence if it is not understood properly. So this is what in the West is called attitude of gratitude. And some people get disturbed when they hear this attitude of gratitude because they feel like it has Western religious connotations. You have to be thankful to God, all these things, which puts off people. But it need not be religious. It is a fact. It is a fact that yat bhavitam tad bhavati. There is a saying in Sanskrit. You become what you think. You really become what you think. And if you keep telling yourself, because of the legacy of the parentage, because of the legacy of the world around you, because of the legacy of socialization and the legacy of one's own discontentment, if one keeps telling oneself, I am not okay and things are not okay in my life, that becomes the truth. And that is what is the private projection because of which there is dejection. So you look at the world with that same eyes of discontent. And everything is, painted with discontent, distempered with discontent. Everything is full of discontent. Because the sorrowful person looks at a blooming flower and then what? Manages to eclipse the poor flower also with one's personal rain cloud and then find fault with the flower. And then what? Find fault with a sunset. Sunrise, I told you, I have stopped giving the example because they will say, what is that? Nobody is awake at that time. So sunset, yes, no problem. And so sunset you find fault. You find fault with the moonrise. You find fault with the stars. Both the stars that are above and the stars that are in your horror scope of horrors. The Shani is always in the wrong house. Shani means Saturn. And not contented with that, it keeps returning. That's why it's called Saturn return. So at 30 you feel funny, and then at 60 you feel funnier still. And if one is alive, at 90 one feels really off. Even without Saturn at 90 one will feel off, okay? That has nothing to do with Saturn. But we need something to blame. Saturn return. And this is if you follow Western astrology. Vedic astrology is a completely different devata or an animal as you want to look at it. Vedic astrology also we have Saturn return, but then once it returns, like a guest that refuses to go, it stays around you for 7.5 years. And Saturn is a practical Vedanta teacher, okay? Yeah, what do you mean by practical Vedanta teacher? Saturn doesn't sit and give pravachan, discourses. He doesn't have time for that. He knows Vedanta, but he doesn't have time for that. He doesn't say Vairagya is ... when you let the things drop. One by one you let all the things go. This is dispassion, my friends. This is Vairagya. But this is not Saturn, okay? Saturn doesn't bother with all this flowery talk. Saturn demonstrates Vairagya. It just catches hold of your shirt and pulls it off, tears it off. Oh, I'm cold. What happened? Deal with it. And then Saturn next looks at all the other areas of insecurity that you're trying to shore up. Bank account. Oh, this looks good. Your bank account looks very good. Why? Because when it is not there, you are forced to deal with the fallout of how much you have depended on anatma for your sense of well-being. Oh, so Saturn is a thief? Yeah, in a way. But Saturn also acts globally, don't worry. He's not just after your bank account. Saturn is after the, it's these global stocks, and that is what it is. Sudden recession. Yeah, recession is just cessation of how things were. All the things we used to take for granted. And that's all it is. Sudden recession, globally. Or just, Saturn's brother. is coronavirus. That is what it is. Saturn's brother. And what does the brother do? The brother and Saturn work together, and then everything is lack of money, lack of this, lack of that. This is a very wonderful period globally to get in touch with Viveka, Vairagya, all these things, and to get in touch primarily with oneself as the source of contentment. The pandemic has forced one to do that. All the avenues of wish fulfillment, of trying to suppress this longing and the insecurity behind it, of not wanting to address the insecurity, the avenues have all been blocked. Like a not terribly bright rat in a maze, where the jiva is going around and around. Oh, here is a block. Oh, here is a block. Doesn't know what to do. It is going back and forth. And one good thing about it is people have been forced to look at this. And for the first time in many decades, Vedanta has suddenly gained a new popularity. Why? Because nothing else works and nothing else is there for entertainment. I have already made the popcorn. I have already seen everything on Netflix and this flicks and that flicks, everything. And then what? Let me tune into the Vedanta class. And you can Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. That's the popcorn, okay? Yeah. On Zoom. People think, people think that, I'm not looking. I am looking. I'm looking at each and every one of you. And people think I'm not looking. And then, people do all kinds of things. I just allow it, that's all. Why? Because Bhagavan is there. Why should I be the, why should I do this? So this is how it is. Whatever I have seen on Zoom Kulam, is not available anywhere else. It's really, really amazing. One time, the husband and wife fighting, it almost came to blows on Zoom. And here Brahma Vidya is going on. And then I said, what should I do? They are fighting, they are going like this with each other in the screen. And I looked closely. Then I told myself, well, Brahma Vidya is best enjoyed in Kurukshetra. And then I went on, because after all, in the best Brahma Vidya rendition in the Bhagavad Gita happened in the battlefield. May it be like this for this couple also. As soon as I thought that, then I became calm, and they also became calm and sat and listened to the rest of the class properly. So, Vedanta has become extremely popular. Why? Because there is no other way. And that there is no other way has this knowledge has come only after exhausting every other possibility and all other avenues being blocked. And this is how, this is a very good time to practice contentment. And that contentment is expressed in many ways. And one of that manifestations of that contentment is gratitude. Gratitude is not saying thank you all the time. Thank you in the Shastra, we don't even have a word for thank you in most Indian languages. We just have a made up word that the anchors use on television. That's all it is. They say Dhanyavad. Dhanyavad is not thank you. Dhanya means blessed. I am rich, I am prosperous. Vada means an expression of abundance and prosperity, inner abundance and prosperity. It has nothing to do with thank you. There is no word for thank you. So does that mean we are a thankless culture? No. That gratitude is called Kritagnyata. I know what has been done for me. This body is given. The mind is given. It's a blessing. Even to complain is a privilege. Think if I didn't have a mind, if I was in permanently vegetative state, I couldn't complain even. That I can complain is a plus. Wonderful. Mind is a blessing, body is a blessing. The human body is the best of blessings. Why? Because you can complain the most? No, because you can sit it in front of a Vedanta class. Because that desire can be there, the desire to know who I am, the desire to finally get rid of the discontent. All this makes Vedanta, makes the human birth a great privilege. Then you look around you, and then, when you look around you, instead of looking at the lack, look at everything as a blessing. Even if it's a lack, it's a blessing because of which something has come. Oh, I don't have this. Yeah, you don't have this, but look at what that has made you. Oh, I had terrible childhood. Yes, but look at how it has helped you to be who you are. I had a terrible childhood. Well, but it has brought you to Vedanta. Isn't that wonderful? So this is how, this is what is called yadrichha labha santushtah. That santosha is you, and whatever is there is enough. This is called alam buddhi. Alam buddhi is the precursor of santosha. The mind will run, and the mind will say, I want more of this and I have to have more of this in order to be okay. Let it run. Watch it doing its running, and then just say, this is it. Enough. Alam, enough. But I have only this much. Enough. But the neighbor has that much. Enough. Enough. Because when you look around, that sense of lack is amplified. That is why the contentment has to be unleashed. And the contentment is cultivated, as it were. It is already a possibility, but it is buried under the debris of all kinds of insecurities, wants, and fears. A little bit of digging into that to bring it out, meaning the daily sadhana of contentment. First, I am okay with what I have. Whatever I have is okay. And how to know that it is okay? Ishvarize what you have. Ishvarize the lack connected to what you have. And whatever is okay is Ishvara. Is Ishvara okay? Definitely. Ishvara is okay, you are okay, and you are ultimately that Ishvara, that knowledge will come with Vedanta. So for right now, one practices this contentment all the time. I am enough. Even that voice that says you are not enough, I am enough. You are not perfect, I am perfect. It's okay. I can improve, of course, but I am okay as I am. On the empirical level, yes, I can do my best, and I can also accept the fact that my best is not good enough sometimes, but this is what it is. Oh, but I can't accept myself. All right, I can understand that it is difficult. Can you accept the fact that you cannot accept yourself? Yeah, okay, then that is self-acceptance. That is the beginnings of self-acceptance. Can you accept that you cannot accept the, can you accept the fact that you don't have self-acceptance as of yet? Yes. And if you were to say no to that, then can you accept the fact that you cannot accept the fact that you don't have self-acceptance? Then we can stay here for a long time. Somewhere you have to say yes. The buck has to stop somewhere, and the point is the initiative comes from you. Accept the non-acceptance. Embrace the non-acceptance. Hug it. Give it a hug. And say, okay, right now I'm not able to accept myself. Right now I'm being terribly self-critical. And that's okay right now because this is how it is. Accept it. And that acceptance, increases 1,000-fold when you lay the non-acceptance at the feet of Ishvara at your altar. That is why it's called altar. As I have told you before, it has the power to alter you. That is why it is called altar. Just say, take this longing away. Take this non-acceptance away. Give it back to Ishvara. And you can even make a joke. You were the one who gave it to me. I don't want it. Take it back. Give it away. And so that is how one practices contentment. Then the contentment which one practices centered on the I flows into the universe naturally. And if there are blockages, we can help ourselves with two more practices. So what is the next practice? The next practice is to feel, is to have santosha at whenever somebody gains something which you don't have. Practice santosha. Oh, how wonderful. And this I'll be talking about it more at length. Here I'm just going to mention it because that whole section on Matsarya, jealousy, is going to come in the next verse, and so we will talk more about that. For right now, the practice of being happy with whatever one has at any given moment, even if karma has dealt you a bad deal of cards. So you open the cards and look, oh, it's a terrible deal, what can I do? At least the cards are not useful to win the jackpot, nothing. At least it's useful to fan yourself. You see, something nice can happen even with that. That's okay. No, but I deserve that money. All right, we know you deserve it. If you deserve it, it will come. It will come. When? After I die? Maybe not. Maybe it will come before. Right now, you can do all the things you can do. And then you can just be contented even in the face of adversity. That is, when you look around in the universe, in fact, one needs very, very little. We think that things and people and all these things make us happy. But the pandemic has shown how little you need in order to just be. All the time, people used to go to grocery store until the grocery store itself was fraught with fear to go there. And then now, one is fine going once in a while. No problem. One does without many things that one is accustomed to. Why? Because that is the reality. So that self-contentment oozes into expressing contentment towards the world, towards other people in it. And then the other practice, which I have talked about many times, is this practice of non-criticism. Drop the dosha darshanam. How? By unleashing appreciation, especially when you don't feel it. And this is a very helpful practice, in families. You can have one day of no criticism, only appreciation day. Oh, one day is too much. Okay, have half a day, 4 hours. No criticism, only appreciation, 4 hours. And don't make it a weekday, make it a weekend where everybody has to deal with each other. And you feel like telling everyone off. You always do this. Convert that, for not only stop that with the help of Vak Tapas that we have studied in Vedanta, but convert that into something you appreciate about the other person. No criticism, only appreciation. And teach this to the children. For the next 4 hours, we don't criticize anything, anybody. All is well, everything is well. And the first and you can just do it once a week. And the first 2 weeks, after that you have to go to the dentist because you have worn out the teeth by grinding them together. It seems so difficult. your gritted teeth, I don't like this at all, but I learned in the Vedanta class that I have to appreciate you, so here you go. Sometimes you're all right. Okay. This is how one appreciates it. Doesn't come out easily because of the pain inside. But after the first 2 weeks, it gets easier. Becomes natural because it's you. You are not a, critical person. You are not a self-critical person. Your Swarupa is that of an appreciative being. You're not a critical person. But then how did I get so critical? That's the critical issue we are discussing here. That is all because of Atma Ajnanam. So then why are you giving all these homeworks? I am studying Vedanta. Atma Ajnanam should take care of it. Yes, Atma Ajnanam will take care of it. If you do your part. What is my part? To grow into an adhikarin. You are an adhikari. You have to be qualified for that. So the Shastra that says you are limitlessly cheerful only speaks to a person who is at least relatively cheerful. Otherwise one is always in the doldrums. Tattvamasi, you are the whole. That is what is not going to have any effect. It's not going to, even the best statements of Vedanta, they are not going to have any effect whatsoever. None at all. And so therefore there is a need to unleash the different samskaras, the samskaras of contentment. The other samskara of contentment is the samskara of non-entitlement. This is also a form of subtle greed. I deserve this, I need to be treated in this way because I am important. I have to have this. There is an entitlement. And that entitlement is the last thing to be dropped, really, because it's very, very subtle, very difficult to objectify, to discern. But that is also within this picture of what constitutes greed. The entitlement, when that entitlement, that self-righteousness comes, how dare they? Don't they know who I am? How dare they do this? Laugh. Laugh at yourself. Why? Because you have no say over how other people treat you. And the reason why it is bothering you is because somewhere deep down you are not treating yourself nicely. Look at that instead. Pacify that. Pacify all the parts that are not being treated nicely, and this is easily taken care of. So no criticism, only appreciation day. That one you can do, and when 4 hours you have mastered, do 8 hours, and when 8 hours are mastered, do it twice a week. And this way one becomes a person who is unable to criticize. Of course, unless it is for a teaching situation. You want to correct somebody because they have asked you to correct them. That's a different thing. Otherwise, everything is okay. Be the one for whom everything is okay. Pujya Swamiji used to tell a story of one man who was always made fun of in his village as the village simpleton. People even thought that he might have had a developmental disability. Why? Because of the way he lived his life. What would he do? He never married. He took care of his parents, and they died away, they passed away. And then he had a little house that he lived in. He was not doing anything in particular. He would hold some jobs. He was a little gopher. He would take this there and deliver this there, everything. And, being a Brahmana, sometimes he used to be called to the temples to assist the priests in doing a few things, for the deities. He would go, but not really any particular job he held. He was just there for the society, and he never really charged anybody anything. They would say, hey, come, all these coconuts need to be harvested, help with putting them in sacks and then taking them to the market, he would do it. He would never even ask, give me this, these are my hourly rates. And if somebody gave him 4 coconuts as a result of doing this was in those days, and he would be happy. He would not even complain. He would say, oh, coconut water today, how fantastic. He would just go. And then, he had given himself a day off. And then whatever money he had, he would never hold it. And then on his day off, he would just like to ride the buses from one village to another. Being a traditional person, he had that little, tuft of hair that is kept, and then it is usually tied up. But this is my day off. What the hell? He used to let it loose, look out of the window, occupy the last seat in the bus, and then the conductor and the bus driver would say, oh, this is for you, come, 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 and they would save him that seat. And all he would do is put his head out of the window and enjoy the breeze. Go from village to village to village. After a while, they stopped charging him also. They said, no, you're not going anywhere, you're not selling anything, you're not making any profit. Why should we charge you? This is giving you joy. Just sit in the bus. Get on wherever you want, get off wherever you want. So whole day he would spend like this. So this kind of a lifestyle. And then one more thing he would do, if somebody gave him a lot of money, he would just look a little disturbed. He would put a few rupees in his pocket, and the rest of it he would stand literally at the bus stop or the street corner and give it to all the poor people there assembled. He didn't hold a lot of things. And then, people thought, oh, he's like a village idiot. They were all very fond of him. And then Pujya Swamiji said one day he just grew old and died, and his funeral was like the funeral of a big king or a celebrity. People thronged from the 10, 15 nearby villages. There was nobody who did not know him. There was nobody who hadn't been helped by him. There was nobody who had not been infected with his enthusiastic, bubbly personality, which was always contented, very happy with himself. And not a word of Vedanta he might have known, but he was able to still live like that, simply live. And very beautiful story, and I always remember this story. And even though I never met that man in person, it is just a very inspiring story to lead the life by. Small things can bring out that joy, which is the truth of the self. Because we have become hardened by our addictions to devices and all other kinds of desires, those small happinesses, I call them small happinesses because because of our skewed perception, they appear small. They are not small, but because our perception is somewhere else, we think of themselves as small. So these small happinesses, so to speak, they really speak volumes, because when we are able to notice them and be in them, life suddenly starts to look a whole lot better. The days go very well. And so, like that poet said, no time to stop and stare, no leisure. You have to cultivate this leisure, inner leisure. Oh, but I have a very busy lifestyle. Doesn't matter. Inner leisure, an inner space to be able to see what is around you, to be able to laugh at the antics of a dog on the wayside, to be able to smile at at something, at a flower, at a tree, at anything, to be able to smile, to be able to just live freely. This is in our hands. And so therefore what? The mantra is, there is also a mantra to repeat. I am a non-demanding, contented and appreciative being. I am a non-demanding, appreciative, contented being. This is the thing to keep on seeing the meaning of each and every word. non-demanding, non-entitled, contented, happy, appreciative, non-critical. All this. Keep seeing the meaning. This becomes a kind of a nididhyasana, an English nididhyasana, contemplation on the English sentences of Vedanta. I am a non-demanding, appreciative, contented person. Always, you can add. And so even if you are not feeling it, you'll start to, your mind will come in line with the vision. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. The mind is mastered. One has a say over the ways of the mind through this repeated practice of seeing the truth and not going with the falsehood that I am greedy. And then that is abhyasa. Vairagya, dropping the things that are not required, including the idea I deserve much more. More we'll see next time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.